that has to be their chair, right? Who just leaves a chair on the... That has to be. The bottom half of the coffee that we get downstairs is basically just nothing but sugar. The month of October for us is our busiest time of the year for weddings by far. This month we shot like 13 or 14 weddings, maybe a little less than that. But if you've ever shot a wedding, then you realize that that's a lot. Anything above like 8 is just like, whoa. And I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong. I am very grateful for the work. There was a time in my life where I wanted and craved to be self-employed, but there wasn't enough work there. And now Savannah and I are fortunate enough to have enough work to be completely 100% self-employed. I'm a firm believer that you get out of life what you put into it. Whether that be friendships, work, pretty much anything. If you want something in life, it requires work. You work hard enough at something, 9 times out of 10 you'll be successful. But when you're successful, there are gonna be seasons where you're swamped. And that's a good thing. And I think it's really easy amidst being swamped with work or having a lot of business to let the stress of that eclipse the amazing achievement that you have of having a successful business, and reminding yourself that this is something that you've worked for, and this is something that you ultimately a couple years ago would have given anything for. Just take stock in that, take time to appreciate that. That's what I'm trying to do in the midst of a pretty hectic month. And this goes beyond business. I think that's just a healthy thing to do in general with life and everything else. Also, where we live, the surrounding areas is just littered with those scooters just dead. Here they have vans that come and pick those up. In Italy, they had a guy on a bike that just loaded them up and carried them to wherever they take them to. Not quite sure what they're doing. That's a theater in downtown Nashville. They're crawling all over us. Do you see that building right there? Savannah actually was gonna do a photo shoot in there, and they quoted her like it was like $800 to rent a single room for an hour for a photo shoot. Long story, we didn't actually go for it. You know, before I left this morning, I asked Savannah if she wanted to go on a walk with me, but recently the walks have been taking it's like a 2-hour adventure, mostly just for the stoplights and everything else. And every time I get to this spot, I start to miss her. And up until this point, it's like, oh, this is great, but then I just get really lonely. You know, before I've said this before, but before I was a full-time videographer, photographer, I was a full-time musician for years, like 5 years. And then in the course of like 6 months, everything that I had accumulated and all the gigs that I had built up just all faded away for one reason or another. That kind of forced me to shift from music to photo and video. People always say that you learn more from your mistakes and your failures than you do your successes. And I believe some of that is true, but I also believe that if you have the right mindset, you can learn from your successes too. An example would be for this month we're doing like an insane amount of video weddings, and next year we're thinking about putting a cap on it. But before that, we just took pretty much anything that we wanted. We haven't yet, but the consideration is definitely there. Doing it. I'm calling Savannah. She didn't answer. Also, you're sitting on one of those little arm things with a diagram. That box in our room, it's just music stands, and it's been sitting there for close to a month. And Savannah asked very nicely 4 different times for me to. I'm doing that right now.